Hello again, Jungle Explorer here, and today I'm going to be talking about this little sports action camera here. I'm going to call this a flashlight camera simply because it looks like a little LED flashlight. It might be called a barrel cam or something like that, but I'm going to call it a flashlight camera. I bought this to use during dove season when I was hunting, to attach to my shotgun to catch footage of me hunting and hunting doves and things. So thought that it might be useful. Last year I tried to do the same thing with one of my little GoPro knockoffs. I had the SJ4000 GoPro style cam, little square cam by DB Power, and it did actually a pretty good job, but the problem was with the fisheye lens, the 180 degree angle lens, that it made, when I was hunting, it made the doves look like mosquitoes. At a normal range that you would hunt, it kind of looked like I was shooting dove at, say, 50 or 60 yards rather than 15 to 20 yards. And that has to do with the fisheye lens that kind of stretches the image a little bit and makes little objects that are far away seem much further than they actually are. Then kind of the reverse effect of your right hand mirror on your car that says objects in mirror are closer than they appear. Well, objects in the video are closer than they appear with that camera. But so this one I ordered because it was the only camera I could find. If you can see here, it says 120 FOV, or field of vision. Basically, that's not 170 degree lens, it's 120 degree lens. And I thought maybe that would give me a little tighter close-up on the dove or whatever I was hunting. So I thought I'd give it a try. I paid, I think, $32 on Amazon.com for this. It really is almost a no-name. It says Sports DV. It came in a box, this box right here. It says Mini F9, Mini F9 DVR, but you look over here on the side and it has this stuff stamped on the box, and it has nothing to do with the camera. None of this is true. This HD 1020 by 1280, I guess that's supposed to be 1080p. It says that it has a 1.5 inch display. So the box it came with doesn't really actually go with the camera. It doesn't record in AVI format. So I don't know what the box is, and it came with some accessories. So basically it's a cheap knockoff. It's not high quality. There's no quality control at the factory, but as long as it would do what I wanted it to do, I thought, well, okay, let's give it a try. I buy a lot of cheap stuff. I hope that I get good. Some of it's turned out good, some of it's not. But this one here, it's very, very basic camera. It's easy to use. On the back end of it, you've got basically you got an SD card slot up here. Put a micro SD card in. You have this little. Now, one of the things that I really didn't like was it doesn't have a standard micro USB. It has its own proprietary USB cord, so you have to have that to charge it. It has an internal battery that's not removable. So, and it gives you about an hour and a half charge of filming. Per charge, you get about an hour and a half of filming. I tried that out in the field and got just about an hour and a half. It has two settings here. One says, if you can see it, 1080p at 30 frames per second, or this one says 720p at 60 frames per second. And then this little switch down here, if it's to the left, it's video. If it's to the right, it takes pictures. Operation is very straightforward. You hold the button to turn it on, and when it turns on, it vibrates like your phone vibrating 3 times, and then it's on. And then to record, you simply press the button once. I'm having trouble with this rear button on this thing. It doesn't work every time, but basically you press that once and it starts recording, and then you press and long hold to turn it off. Then if you want to turn the camera off, you hold that down and then it turns off and then it goes out. So it's very simple. Long press to turn it on. it vibrates 3 times, you're ready to record. Press this once to start recording, and you got to press it quickly, and then long press to turn it off. So there are some settings that you can use with this camera, but you got to plug the camera in with a micro SD card in it. You got to plug it in to your computer, and then navigate using Windows Explorer or whatever to the file. There's a note file on there, notepad file, a text file basically, that you open up, and it has some settings in there that are kind of cryptic, but if you read them long enough, you figure out what they do, and you can adjust the color and the contrast and stuff like that. And then you got to save that file, and then turn the camera off and back on again, and then it'll change the settings. So it's very involved to actually change the settings of the camera, but it can be done. Setting the date took me several times, probably 5 or 6 times to actually get even the date set on it. So anyways, it's not very convenient to use because it doesn't have an LCD screen or no way on board to modify your settings. All it has is these 2 little switches. But if it made good video, then it would be okay. The problem is it doesn't make good video. It's supposed to be 1080p HD lens. This camera makes the worst video of all of the knockoff cameras that I've bought. All the low budget cameras. This by far is the worst performer. This video that this thing makes is just not usable. I would say, if you had maybe a 2 megapixel smartphone, one of those old flip phones like the Samsung V3 or something like that had like a 1 megapixel camera, that's kind of the quality of the video that this thing takes. It's very grainy, it's very blown out. The manufacturers, they tried to fool people by bumping up the gamma and the color saturation, so when you first look at the video, it looks all beautiful and bright and green, but if the fine detail is non-existent, it's just super grainy. So don't be fooled by the extra color saturation they've added in there. That's not actually good video. It's just color saturated. They've just put a massive amount of color saturation in it. It looks almost cartoonish. It's so over color saturated. And then they bumped up the gamma to make it look really bright and shiny, and it's not. The video quality is horrible on it. I wouldn't, I'd give this to a child. It's not usable. So, unfortunately, and that's on the 1080p setting with 30 frames per second. If you switch it over to the 720p, it's worse. It's a lot worse. I mean, it's, bad VGA cell phone quality video. It just really produces horrible video. I am not going to recommend this piece of junk. Mine has a defective button, and it's been defective since I got it. Every now and then I'll get it pushed just right and it'll work. It takes horrible video. It's hard to use. There's no settings that you can adjust on it easily. You got to go in your computer and try. If it took good video, I could overlook how hard it is to set up. I could overlook the proprietary USB cord that it has. If you lose that, you can't even use the camera. I could overlook the non-removable battery, so if you charge a sucker and you go out in the field for a couple of days, you got an hour and a half of video. That's it. You can't put a new battery in it. I could overlook all of that if it just took good video, but it doesn't. So I bought this off Amazon.com. It's called the Sports DV camera, or the Mini F9. You might steer clear. I'm going to say steer clear of this camera right here. Do not buy it. Unfortunately, it did not live up to my expectations in quality, and so there you have it. My review of this little camera here, and I'm really sad about it. I really wanted it to work out. I'm not happy to make this review, but I'm making this review to protect other people that might buy this in the hopes that it will do something for them. This is not worth You know, I might give this to a child or something, but it's just so bad. I can't say how bad it is. So I hope this video helps you steer clear of it and not make the same mistake that I did. And I'm gonna see, because it's defective, maybe I can get my money back. I might be past the time to get my money back on it. Just a lesson learned here. So I hope this video has been useful to you. If it has, please like, subscribe, and comment. Until next time.